I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the content in this book and the research that I did to get there. And this is like really gotten to me because in the 1970s, there obviously no internet. There wasn't a whole lot of information out there on how to be sexually responsible or sexually active or stop pregnancy. I lived in a small village, so it's my perspective. And, everyone else has got their own perspective. Perhaps if you lived in a big city, you'd have more access to information. Well, the house I grew up in, this was the only book in the house at a certain point that had information of any kind on sex or what it was about. In high school, you'd get sex education classes, but that was more like there's the ovaries and, there's the sperm thing and this is how we do it. And there's no, like hardly any really good information on what's supposed to be happening. So I've taken two excerpts out of this book because I just find them hilarious for the day. Now, to be fair, this book was published in 1963 and the Anne's Gift takes place in 1978. But regardless, this was the only thing in my house. So it's the only information that I had that came from a book. Okay, this is the excerpt I'm going to read. Dear Ann Landers, I am 17 and already my life is messed up. Ted and I went steady for 6 months and we began to do things we had no right to do. I became pregnant. We both quit school and got married right away. My folks thought it would be best if we moved out of town, so we did. I hate my life and what I have done to Ted. The baby cries all the time and gets on Ted's nerves. He drinks too much and I can't blame him. We live in a dump and there's no money for sitters or movies or decent clothes. Ted never says anything, but I know he must hate me because I got him into this. I'm afraid he hates the baby too. He never holds her or pays attention to her. There are times when I think this is all my bad dream and I'll wake up at home in my own bed getting dressed to go to school with the kids I like so much. But I know too well that those days are over for me and I'm stuck. Okay, it's her fault? Like, really? It's her fault that they got pregnant. And that just drives me mental because I remember that. It was the girl that would have to be the responsible one. And like trying to find a condom or go on the pill, it just like wasn't, I don't know, easy. Like in the story, you'll read how it gets done. But, to blame the woman, it just is so antiquated in belief system. But there you go. Okay, the next one is like kind of funny because okay, so it's like how to stop yourself from, your urges and like calm yourself down so you don't get yourself in trouble and having that sex thing going on. So let me see. Athletics. Okay, this is for the men. Athletics is one of the healthiest, most satisfying outlets. The teenage boy who has 2.5 hours of basketball or football practice or a couple of hours on the tennis court is less likely to be riding around in the evening looking for girls. So I asked my husband, John, and said, like, if you played hockey for 2.5 hours and then went to the bar, would you be like too tired to bother if there was a lady that interested you? And he looks at me and goes, no. So I would think that would be the same for most fellas. Okay, now for the women. Oh, this is awesome. Housework, particularly floor scrubbing, is not only great for the female figure, but it's good for the soul, and it will help take the edge off your sexual appetite. Cooking, baking, and sewing will prepare you for homemaking. Energy siphoned off into these constructive channels will leave less energy for preoccupation with erotic fantasies. They call it being boy crazy when I was a teenager. Okie dokie, let's all scrub some floors, teenagers. Okay, those are the only two things I wanted to cover today. And if you want to chime in, I would love to hear what people have to say.